All right, here we go. Another week of our Sunday review. Little intro for those new people that are here. Welcome, everybody. That's first timers. We've been getting a bunch of registrations lately, so that's pretty cool. Welcome to all of you. Just going to give a quick recap how it works. I'm going to be presenting my own analysis. That's all this is. It's my personal analysis, not recommendation to buy or sell anything. Any trades you decide to make are your own risk. But that being said, I will walk you through what I believe we're going to be seeing this coming week, and I will present some opportunities that I will be looking for to trade. I will pause in between assets for questions. You can raise your hand if you have a question, and I'm going to turn on your mic, and I will try to answer your question. All right, that's basically the way it works, and we're going to begin right now. So just a general comment first on the equities market. We saw a pretty nice rally this week. You know, if you're trading futures and you're looking at the chart and you're looking at on the daily level over here, and it's looking like we actually have a higher high over here, which I'm going to point out in a minute is not so accurate. And when it comes to the ES for now, okay, we're looking at S&P 500, and we're looking at, this was our lower high that we were playing off of, looking for prices to collapse. Obviously, they hit demand and rallied, and this is looking like we actually got a little bit higher. However, it's a little bit deceiving because we actually rolled over in here. And when you look at this on a non-rolled over chart, right over here, we're looking at the H price back here, and over here we're looking at an M price. Okay, and when that goes on, what happens is, I'm actually going to open another chart here and show you what I'm talking about. We're actually not higher at all. We're actually still lower. As a matter of fact, when you look at the weekly chart, the SM18, we'll start with the daily chart for a minute, and you'll see that we're actually not higher. Right? When I'm looking at this as all one contract month without the rollover, we're still below the pivot here. Right? See that, right? And if I turn this into a weekly chart, well, what we're looking at now come on, weekly. I'm such a crappy typer, and I'll blow it up a little bit, but take a look at the candles, and it's actually an inside week. We really didn't go anywhere at all. It looked really strong and fantastic, but we're inside the prior week's candle. So, is the bull in charge yet? Is the bear dead? I don't think so. I don't know that we're blasting through the top. For sure, NASDAQ, which we'll talk about in a minute, made all new highs and all that fun stuff. But you know what? We didn't really go anywhere at all. Okay? Take a look. And when we go back to, our levels that we're looking at for possible trades, well, I'm just going to go back to the rolled over chart for now. We're just making my point over here. Take a look here. And, there's totally another very, very, very strong supply zone in our face before we get through the high. There's absolutely no way that we're breaking through this without a fight. It's not happening. So, yeah, NASDAQ broke out. I don't think we're really going to make new highs here. I actually think what we're going to do is, unfortunately, confirm the top. And then we'll be pushing down lower. So the breakdown we were looking for over here didn't happen, right? No question about that. I think we have a little bit more upside potential coming over here Monday, Tuesday. Probably by, maybe by the end of the week, we're back somewhere over here, and then it's going to be another week or so before we start back testing over here. But what we're doing is actually confirming this top and putting in a longer term top, right? I was looking for this to break down and then bounce up and then come back here sometime later on, confirm the top. But that's actually happening now, which is actually more bearish than we thought. Therefore, this is going to become a longer-term top up here as we start to explore lower levels. So for now, ES is looking to me like we should see continued strength, probably Monday, Tuesday, something like that. And then later in the week, depending on how fast we can get up to this 2,800 and change level, that's where we're going to start to see the price collapse. Really harsh selling at a step in up there. As far as we're looking at on the 240 chart, so this is the level that we arrived at over here. Right, again, remember this is partially rolled over, and the other levels are still a little bit higher up. Make this package of dojis up here, this whole area, this is that daily chart level I just showed you, and there's some 2800 number is going to have some resistance up there. We're very, very overbought. If you look at any of the, MACD, RSI indicators, you'll see that we're extremely overbought in this market. We're outside Bollinger Bands. We're in supply. It doesn't have a lot left. It's, maybe a little bit more, but that's it. It's going to turn over from here, and we're going to start testing the lows. There is absolutely a 0% chance, as far as I'm concerned, that ES is making a new high without this level up here reacting. It's not happening. Okay, that's what's being said for ES. If anybody has a question about it, I'll be glad to address it. I'm going to show you my levels on the 60 chart for a second. And you can see that, Friday was just a hip hurrah, bull rush after the jobs number. It was very nice. They exploded. They went blah, 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 and all that fun stuff. At the end of the day, again, we really didn't go anywhere. Right? I just showed you the weekly chart. We're totally inside the prior week's candle, and it's just an inside week. It looked really nice at the end of the day. It was a big, big push, but nothing really happened. Okay? This is the level that we closed in. Go back to the zone. We're in here. On the 60, we've got another one here, another one here. So there's plenty of supply to work through for the ES. And again, I'm saying we're not making a new all-time high before we come back and test the lows and get below the lows. We will be going underneath there. So that's what I'm looking at for ES over here. If anyone has a question, raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to NASDAQ, which is slightly different, actually, than ES this week. Cool. Okay, no questions. Let's go. All righty. NASI. So no question that NASI broke out last week. You know what? It's being run by the FANGs, right? All these little lower time frame levels. One second, I got to change rooms over there. My kids are having breakfast. Better. Okay, so the NASDAQ is being fueled by just a couple of, FANG stocks that are being bought up and pushed up through the top. No question that they're absolutely outperforming the rest of the market, and that's why we're seeing this, new all-time highs. Even on the, the non-rolled over chart, if you're looking at the QH or the QM, they are at all-time highs. Okay. And therefore, what we're looking up here for is a turnaround, but it's not something that we can pinpoint when it's going to happen. For now, I would say if I'm going to buy something, I'm going to be buying NASDAQ long. And if I'm going to short, probably shorting up the ES. As far as levels of NASDAQ shorts, they're just not there now anymore because we've broken out to new highs, and we'd have to actually build new supply by rallying up and taking out the prior, hitting prior demand and making lower highs and stuff like that. So for now, it's NASDAQ buy demand on the pullbacks, right, into these lower demand zones over here while it tries to build the top. The ES has supply there already, and therefore if we hit supply and start selling off, I might get short. The NASDAQ, I will not be getting short until we start to see some kind of downtrend form on some of the, even a 15-minute chart. Chart with just totally up. Everything is rallying. We're in the sky. So you just have to buy. If you're going to buy one of the indexes to go up, I'd be telling you, buy NASI. Buy NASDAQ, buy this Doji over here in the 60, and look for, I don't think we're going to get a new high after that, but look for a test to the top out of there. But when it comes to shorts, yeah, I'd be rather short, the ES or the Dow. The Dow is even weaker than ES, but that's what we're looking for, the indexes. I think we're going to see a mixed week, a strength in the beginning of the week and then the weakness later in the week. Okay. Questions by anyone? Okay, cool. All right, let me switch over to crude. Second. All right. Let's see. I've got a question over there by somebody, it looks like. Keith. Hey, Keith, what's up?
Hey, Joe, good morning.
Morning.
I was just wondering if Yeah, I was just wondering if the Nasdaq was going to act like the S&P, because it looks like it came to that level just before the prior high, and then it went back from like 69.90 down to 66.
I lost you there.
Uh-oh.
I'm losing your audio there. I lost your audio. Say again.
Uh-oh. I don't know. Can you get me now? Sound like the
no, I got you. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
So on the NQ, it seemed to come up to that level you marked on the ES, pull back about 300 points, I guess, and then rallied higher. All the way to the low, though. And I was wondering if you were expecting. Well, I was thinking we might.
You want to short the Nasdaq when the ES gets to supply? Is that what you're saying?
Pull back.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I just wondered if you thought the ES had a chance of panning out. I thought maybe the ES would act like the Nasdaq and pull back a little way.
Oh, break out with the ES, come back to demand and then break out. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, no. No. I thought you were saying if the Nasdaq is actually going to sell off when the ES arrives in its supply zone. I thought that's what you were asking. If you're asking me, do I think that the ES is going to pull back into this demand over here, back down under here, and then break out to all-time new highs, right? I think that's what you're asking. Is that, if that's your question,
yeah. Basically, a similar pattern to the Nasdaq.
I think we're actually going to maybe get a little higher in ES where we are without any pullbacks at all yet. We're just going to chew through this current level, get up to like 2,800, and then we're going to start really selling off.
You're on here is nice. I love it. I don't know why you like it.
Yeah, you there?
I think you probably know why. If you had
yeah, I'm here. Yeah. I see. Yeah, I'm listening to what you're saying.
I can't. Yeah, I got it. I'm not getting your audio. Like you're chopping in and out. Type your question in the chat. Okay. Okay. You guys can all hear me, right? It's not my voice. It's not me. It's him, right? Yes. Yeah, Lena. Lena, your mic's on?
Yeah, sorry, honey. I just wanted to respond. Yeah, I meant to hit the wrong button.
Okay. No, but you're hearing me, right? It's fine. Yeah, audio's good. Okay,
audio's
fine.
good.
It's his audio, but I'm chopping in and out. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right. So, Keith, type your question in the chat box, and I'll try to get to answer you. Okay. No problem. Okay. Cool. So let's move on. Let's get to crude, because crude is really interesting. Again, we're going to start with the higher time frame. If you look at the weekly candle, no bullish candle to me. What I see over here is, all right, an uptrend that we were in over here. We hit weekly supply. We sold off out of that. We back tested out of that area. We made a lower high, right? Pair of bullish bearish twins, and then we got a doji last week, right? With a lower high still and a lower low still, which means we're most likely heading further south, okay, over here. We're not ready to rally out of this level, okay? It turned into a doji. Yeah, Friday was a very powerful day, but you know what? We broke 60 last week, under 60, and they were defending that. That's what really happened over here. If you look on the daily chart for crude, okay, you'll see that now we're in a little wedge going on. Right? We had a top that was confirmed back here. We had a sell-off. We've hit demand. We rally up. We come back to the supply zone again. There's the supply right here. We start selling off. And then we land in this little demand area, this area right over here. Sorry, I'm a little wobbly with my lines. Right over here. And we hit this level. We pop up, lower high again. And then we just break under 60. 59.95 was the low of the week. And we shot out of that thing. We're just catching people that were trying to catch the breakout underneath. We're stopping them out. And I think what they're doing on Friday really was a stop run before a massive sell-off. Okay? They are making sure that there's no shorts left before we really start to turn over here. And if you look at the 240 chart, I'll bring some more data on the chart for a second. But right now, this is the 61.8 fib retracement from the last leg down, and we landed right in the supply zone. Okay, and this is one move straight up, and we're in a downtrend. We have lower highs and lower lows on the 240. We landed outside the Bollinger Bands at under 60, inside, and that's the reaction that you're going to get. Right, and what we did over here was broke right through this sucker over here. Right, we just created a smaller time frame demand area over here. We'll look at it in a minute on the 60, and we land over here. Okay, and now we should start to see out of this level is a reversal. Okay? We should start to see this work and start to kick prices lower. There on the 60 is one more zone around 62.50, like near these wicks where price might get to. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But after that, that's it. We're sort of turning over and we're going back into this bottom. I think we're going to see, if we're able to break this demand when we get here, 61 or so, we'll look at it in a minute. If we can get through that zone, 57 and lower. If we turn over here, then maybe that would just be going to create the higher low, and then then they're going to start to do this. At some point later this year, I'm sure, no doubt, we'll be above the highs. We'll be probably near 70 somewhere. The only question is, are we getting under this into the 57, 58 area? I'm pretty sure we are, but we'll know for sure when we get to this demand zone. Happens there. I'm going to show you the level in a second, and that's going to be the teller. If we break this thing and we get under there, then forget about the lows under this. This is just the back test after testing breaking 60. We're going to jump back, make sure we stop all these people out before we really break down and head all the way down to 57. Let's put more data on this chart for you guys. Okay, there's a humongous head and shoulders here. You can see it. Okay. I tweeted this out last week. It's on the 60th. This is a 240. There's the demand zone that we've hit back here. We rallied up, we made a lower high, we came back, we made a lower low, massive rally out over here, and now we're looking at, new lows coming soon. Right? And the only question is, where is this turning around? I'll show you in a minute, and then we'll know what happens when we get to this thing. Look underneath here. Why I'm saying 57 is because there's so much air under this wick. Okay, and once we break that thing, we're all the way down to this, and that's already under almost 58 and change, and it's going to have this big lower high. This whole thing on a higher time frame, this will become a low with a lower high up here. There's the other high back there, right? And then we should be coming back to this zone and breaking down out of here. We're going to go for the fresh demand. The fresh demand is underneath this thing. It's under here where you can see my 57.66 and change area. That's where price is going to want to go. Let me pull it up there for you. So there's the fresh demand. It's underneath all this crap, okay, which means we're going under this thing. So we're sitting over here right now. Let's jump down to the 60. I'll show you the levels that we're talking about that will sort of give us a roadmap for crude over the next couple of days. Okay? There we go. So on the 60 chart, okay, you can see that there's a little bit more room here. Right? We're sort of in the air over here. We are in supply over here on the 15 and on the 5, and pretty strong supply zone. We'll look at it in a minute. But the 60's got this thing, and that's what I'm saying. It might want 62, 50, 70 area, this supply zone, before it reverses. I'm not sure that it is. It's in pretty decent area. And then this is the level that I'm talking about that will sort of know what happens over here. Right? It's 61. It's very strong demand. It's right opposite the supply on the other side. We get through that thing, I'm almost positive that we're breaking all the lows after that. So for now, this week, we're looking at crude hanging around in between this level, and trying to figure out which way it wants to go. Somewhere where the high of the week will be somewhere around here, and the low of the week will probably be somewhere around here, and we'll have to see what happens after that. But that's what we're looking for crude. If you're asking me direction, which way I think it's going to go once it gets up here, I'm pretty sure it's going to break down over here. Because, again, now you start to talk about fundamentals. We know what's going on with all-time production for U.S. shale. Where there are two very major reports coming out for crude this week, other than the normal inventories. On Monday, we're getting the monthly EAI numbers, which is this monthly production of U.S. Crude. So, I'm sure we're going to see a massive build from the prior month as far as production is concerned, because the U.S. is now producing at all-time highs, over 10 million barrels a day. We're at OPEC levels, and we're closing in on Russia, which is the largest producer of daily crude, and we're getting close to them too. So, I'm pretty sure that the EA numbers are going to be extremely bearish as far as production numbers are concerned. The other one is we're going to get the monthly OPEC numbers, and that's on Wednesday. It's Wednesday morning, early in the morning before the Wednesday regular inventory numbers. And both of those reports are going to, I'm sure, show that, crude, I think OPEC is probably living up to their bargain as far as what they're producing, but there's already noise coming from OPEC that, they're talking about scaling back on their cuts, because all they really did was allow the U.S. market share, personally. And I mean, that, they cut their production. The U.S. ramped up the production, and we just supplanted them as far as, sales. We took their sales away, basically. That I'm pretty sure they're going to start to fight back a little bit coming up in the next OPEC meeting, and we'll have to see what happens. This is the supply zone that we're talking about right now on the 15 that we're sitting inside of. You could see it. And then, up here is that 62 level that I showed you on the 60 chart. So there's, little demand over here. This is that 61 level that I'm talking about right over here. This one breaks. I think we're done. We head through the bottom. So for now, I would say watch the level we're in for a breakdown. You can see there's demand underneath us. It should give a small bounce. A lower high over here would be a good short, only because look how much air there is between this 61 level and this demand zone. There's like 70 ticks sitting inside this thing. And if you're catching a lower high, it's actually even more. You're going to catch a high short somewhere up here over 80 ticks down into this demand zone, right? And then, we should get a bounce out of that. Hopefully it's another lower high, and if it is, 57 becomes the target for crude, right? So that's my crude speech for this week. If anybody has any questions, go ahead, raise your hand. I'll take your questions. Looks like we got two questions. Let's see. Lena first and then Eddie. Okay, Lena. Let's see. Go ahead. Lena? No? You're there? I think I just never shut her off from before. All right. Eddie, what's up, man? Your mic's on. Eddie? I'm not hearing you, bro.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
Okay. A quick question on CL. Go back to the 60-minute for a second.
Yep.
The level that you picked where you think the fight's going to go on, that 61 area, why not look at the 60, 50 to 66 that you've got the symmetry on the left side? And then if you go to the 15 minutes...
Hold on, which one? This one here? This one over here you're talking about? Yeah. So we're sitting over there. Yeah, I see. You're talking about this wick over here?
Correct.
That's going to come out over here. Yeah.
Right,
so if we break this level over here, yeah, it's the level that we took out the supply at over here. Right? This level down here that was created over here is really just a weaker zone. What is it fighting? Why is this zone here? There was a little supply over here, this little thing over here. Right? There was supply where I'm like, let me erase it, put it on. This one is a real zone. This one over here, I think, is just battling, this little blip over here.
Look at the 15.
So I don't really put a lot of weight. If you look at it on the 15, it's really not a great level.
Yeah, I know.
I'm saying that's
but I had
it's much stronger on the 60. On the 15, the level that I chose is actually better than the one you're talking about. Look over here, and what you're looking at on this on the 60 is like this mess over here.
Right, but look right below
it. You've
got that doji.
Yeah, so this, I see what you're saying over here. Yeah. This little thing.
Yeah, I did exactly what you did. I didn't like the area, but then I thought right below.
Yes, so I see this. I see what you're saying. If I'm looking at it, I would look at it like this. Forget about all this garbage over here.
Right.
And then this is just this underneath those wicks and like the doji area. And that I could understand a little better. It's fighting this little middle over here, this little pivot up and some supply on this side. Still not enough, I think, because if we start breaking down under here, this is where the bull should fight this thing. This is where you see this right here was the prior lows. There was this low back here. That's where the fight should be. This is already a smaller time frame stuff. The bigger guys are not fighting on this little chart over here. This is showing up on multiple time frames over here.
I think my
and it's massive 61. So yeah, if you're looking for a quick long, I'm sure you're going to get a reaction out of that. But I'm saying for general direction, if we break this, even if we react out of here, we're not going back through the top. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? We'll get a reaction here. I'm not saying we won't. I'm just saying that once this breaks, This over here will create a lower high again. It's not going to make us get to new highs. This thing over here on a pullback has potential to get us up through the top. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking at over here. I think this is where the real battle is going to be fought. Right. Okay. We'll see what happens, but that's it.
And I presume most of the reason is because the 60-60 area on the 15-minute looks like crap.
Yeah, on the 60 chart. Yeah. It doesn't look like anything over here. Yeah, it's messy. Okay, cool. Yep. Anybody else have a question? All right, I don't see anybody else. Cool, so let's move on. That's crude. All right. I'll be trading trading crude extensively this week. I'm looking for the chance to get into the swing short over here, a little higher up. Let's talk about gold. Gold, what do we have? So, we had a very nice short earlier in the week for gold. And when it comes to the daily chart, actually, let's go back to the weekly first. We'll take a look at the weekly chart. Here we go. And what do we got going on? So the weekly is confirmed the top, right, a little while back. Was it 2 weeks back or 3 weeks back? 3 weeks back. We make the lower high up here in this area, and we've been selling off. And there's just so much air under here. Last week we hit 1,300. We bounced back like we should have. We never made a new high for the week. And as we go through the lower time frames, you start to see that this is actually starting to dribble backwards. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be under here. This coming week, we're going to start to see lower gold prices. I'm still a long-term gold bull, but it's just not time to be long right now. I think we're going to pull back a little more, and somewhere under the 1,300 numbers where we're going to start to look for the longs to come. So for now, it's continued shorts. Let's take a look at the daily chart over here. This is our 1,300 last week. We have a strong bounce out. We land right inside supply over here. We start selling off again. Friday was just a little doji candle. We'll see what that looks like in a minute. Everything was on fire on Friday. And at the end of the day, we still have, a lower low on the week. We don't have a lower low for the prior week, but we have no lower highs, that's what I get to say. And let's go back here. Oops. Come on. Don't do that to me, trade station. All right. There's our 240, good. And you can see the little wick that we whipped into over here in demand. So, can we get a little bit higher up into this level? Sure, definitely can. And, we'll have to see what happens as that happens. As we get there, we've clearly taken out this, we went all the way through this zone. And we picked up, it looks like, some lower time frame demand, which is probably sitting at the top of this wick on a lower time frame. Outside the bands, we pick up there, and we have a nice little bounce. But at the end of the day, I don't think we're going through this thing. I think we may get back there, but expect another lower high, and then, that's it. We're going to go under this, underneath the 1,300 number. We're going to probably break 1,300 this week. Let's take a look at 60, what we got. Oops. Crude 60, there we go. So we sort of have supply right on top of us. We're flagging a little bit there. That level probably won't do anything right over here because we're just sitting right on top of it. Probably gets up a little higher into this thing. And then you can see underneath here, that is air. Right? We could see that we've actually broken into the air already. Right? We got through this thing, and again, we touched the highs of this. Right? So that's still not a 60 zone. We'll go see maybe it's a smaller time frame. But, I think up here someplace around 1330, we start rolling over again, and you can see underneath here, there's nothing there. And when we're back to the lows already, because this is all air, and, we'll have a lower high in place, and therefore we'll break this thing. So that's the hypothesis for looking at this coming week for gold. A bounce up maybe to like this 1330 area, and then a sell-off. We'll have to watch if that bounce comes or not, but at some point we're going to be underneath the lows of last week. Let's see on the video. Yeah, so there's a little 15-minute area that was created. It looks like. That's what we're looking at. So I got supply right here, I got supply right here. Again, it's right in between this 26 and 30 is where we should see gold prices start to break down. I'm not expecting this level of demand over here at the 20 to hold. Should break down further. and we're looking at, again, underneath the pivots for that. So gold shorts, okay, a little higher. If we get up there, take a short. That's what I'm looking at over here. Take questions if you like, otherwise I'm moving on to nat gas. And so nat gas we were perfect. I mean, really, I couldn't have got better last week. We exited our shorts literally at the top of the move. And you can see that since then, we've had a pretty decent sell-off. We had a pair of twins on the daily and continued, selling pressure since then. This, I think, was the inventory day. We popped up and then nice little chop. We've taken out this zone over here. I'm fairly certain we're going to see a back test into this area and then the move up that we're looking for next. So for now, I'm not in any nat gas trades. I will be looking to join longs a little bit lower down. I think we're, over here on the weekly chart, remember that we had that big, massive move down a couple of weeks back, and then we started bottoming out. We made a new low under here. We started rallying. We need a higher low over here to be able to start the next move. So I think what we're looking for here is a little bit of a off more, a little bit more, and then a turnaround. So I'll be looking at some point later in the week to try and get into a nat gas long if it does what I expect it to do. So we're looking over here, and I see the 60, and that was that supply zone up there that we had marked off at that 85 and change level that we exited our shorts at literally a few ticks off the highs as our trade. We're in that swing long, and now I'm looking for like this level back here, around here to get tested. This one probably will get taken out. Under here, I think we should see something hold somewhere down here, and we start turning around, start building for me some higher lows, higher highs on like smaller times around the 15 chart. I'll start to look for a chance to get back into a swing. The next leg up should get us to 3. So if we can pick it up down there around 2.6 and 2.650-ish, up to 3, so that's pretty nice, about 350 ticks on nat gas potential for this coming week. So there's no trade now. It's watch the levels break down into demand, watch the demand start to hold, and then we'll see on Wednesday's webinar what nat gas is looking like. Maybe we'll get a chance to get into one of the longer swing trade long for nat gas. Okay, I wouldn't be taking the shorts over here only because there's enough room. There's demand coming up on us over here. And, you can see it. We're got demand at 2.7. We got the one at 2.68. And, then over here. So I'm not really looking for the short trade right now. Much rather watch one of these zones hold and start a long trade for us. Okay. So that's what we're doing for nat gas this week. Okay. So it's hands off until the bottom forms, basically. Look for the bottom around 2.6, I think it was 7.75 or something like that, 2.68. That we looked about, right over here on this 240 chart, between 670 and 680 change. Okay, that's what we're looking for nat gas. Okay, anyone has a question? Go ahead. Otherwise, move it on. So the dollar this week had a pretty nice bounce. It went right to the supply zone that we were talking about. It got through it actually, and then it had a little bit of a back test. Okay, and you can see basically it's landing right over here in the little breakout area of the supply zone. That's where it parked itself. It got a little deeper into supply over here, and it pulled back, and basically it should be just creating a base over here as a bull flag, and we should be rallying out of this thing through the top. I think we're going to see something really powerful this week. We're going to get through this level, and there's all air above this thing. We're going to pop all the way up to the 93-ish. And then at that point, we'll start to look for the dollar to collapse, really. I think we're looking about, later this year, taking out the lows, $1.84, 85, something really nuts on the, on the weekly, monthly levels. We're talking about getting down, maybe even through this area, back to test this breakout back here. So, pop up into the 93, and then we break down, makes another lower high, and we end up somewhere down over here. So for now, we're in this part of the phase, this pop rally coming thing. That's where we're looking over here. Should get up through here, up into the air, up to like 93-ish for this coming week is where I'm looking for, which means we're going to see a massive sell-off in currencies. Again, it started last week. If anyone has a doubt now, I mean, you could look at the EC, and I'm looking at double top, confirmed lower highs over here now for sure with that massive sell-off. And now we just, we hit a smaller time frame demand. All we're getting is a doji. No question that this is going to break out the bottom. It's where it's going. It's going down for now into that 1-2-100 level that I was talking about. And that's the target for now. I expect a pretty nice bounce out of that, so I'll probably exit any shorts and then look for it to make another lower high before we get into the short again. That 1-2-1, if you remember, is a 240 level. It's really strong. Take a look at it over here. I'm going to zoom out the drop. And you could see that on NFP, for the NFP news, we had a fantastic or it might have been Draghi, I forgot. We went back tested right into this little supply zone that we had. The supply zone was actually here, and then we hit it once over here. We sold off like the down over here, which is right up at the highs of this area, right? And then we popped up with the news, and then immediately, boom, straight down. We landed in this demand, and all we're doing is flag. This is a bear flag right now, and we're just chewing through this demand. Don't think we're going to see anything. I would really love to actually see a little pop. There's a fantastic supply zone sitting over here on the smaller time frame. I'll show it to you. And if we hit that thing, I will absolutely be taking a limit entry short. Otherwise, we're going to break down through this thing, and this level will not hold anymore. We have the lower highs there coming into the zone, and this is the 1-2-1 that I keep talking about. That is really a very powerful demand zone. We must expect a reaction from here. What's going to happen, I don't know. It depends on how we get down there. But there is going to be a reaction here. I'll be exiting shorts in that zone and watch for another lower high, and then I'll get back in because I do believe we're going to get a little lower. I think we're really trying to get back here. At the end of the day, we might want to get just under 1.2 to this area and see a humongous euro rally as the dollar crushes itself down into the 84, 85 area. The euro is going through the top. Okay. But for now, the path for euro is short and the path for dollar is long. Okay? That's what we're looking at now. So let's go look at that short potential on the 60 chart. There we go. Okay. So we actually almost there, actually. This was the short we took last week over there with that sucker up there. And then we actually broke down already in it, so it might be the 15 zone that I was talking about that's sitting right over here. We'll go look at it now, and you can see that we're not looking strong at all, okay? And these levels under here I don't think are going to hold at all. I'm looking for another opportunity to get short. I closed my short last week. So let's see, where's that supply? I was looking at it early this morning. Ah, there it is. That's the one I'm talking about. Okay, right here. 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay, there's a very nice failed hammer engulfing there with a nice collapse. So should we for some reason get up there, I don't know that we are, but should we, I will be taking the short over here. Otherwise, you know, anything over here that creates another lower high will just get me into the short at this point. We already have this thing over here, and we already know we're downtrend, and we just, you know, a little weak low over here. So I mean, you know, I'd love to be short. I'm just waiting for a good entry. That's my speech for euro this week. Anybody has a question, go ahead, go for it, ask. Okay. All right, and let's move on to the yen. Yen, what do we got? Okay, so if we look back here on the weekly chart, we'll see that the yen actually printed a pair of bearish twins up here, sort of at the breakout area of this prior high. A little wedge thing going on. We popped out of there, and we pulled back in. We tried to get up again this area over here. And looks to me like, you know, we need to pull back to pick up some new fresh demand before we can really get any higher over here on the yen. I think we're actually going to start selling off pretty strongly. We've been banging around on the lower time frames between demand and supply on the 60 pretty much all week. But it's playing out, I think, now, and you can see that we've had this lower high coming in over here, right? After the gap up, where we were in this uptrend over here, right? Up to here, we made this new high. Up there was a new high. We're still in the uptrend. We pulled back, and then we put in a lower high, and then we broke down underneath the pivot already. And we came to this demand zone. So I think what we're going to see over here is a little back test, and then we're going to start dropping out of this thing in a major way. So for now, I'm starting to get a little bearish on the yen. Let's go take a look over here. There's our 60. And there's our lower high, and there's the breakdown, and we've retraced all the way to demand. There's some pretty nice supply zones over here, right? And I think there's one that's sitting over here on the 15-minute chart that I'm looking at for a potential entry. I think it's going to be right over, should be right around over here, right at the prior lows. There's a little supply zone there. And, you know, over here, we're already into this downtrend. So a back test into supply is definitely an entry. This level that we've just rallied out of, if we're able to turn around over here, will not hold anymore. So I'm starting to show a little bearish tendency. I don't love it only because there's still some great, you know, some demand underneath that's not really cleaned out. But looking at the higher time frame, we do need to have a pullback for yen. So right now, there's the supply zone. It's fantastic. You can see it right there. It's got a gap in it. It's got these dojis. It's got all the prior lows back here. That's the short. It's sitting over here. Okay? So we landed in this demand zone. It doesn't look like anything's really going to happen out of it. We may get a little pop. If we hit this sucker, up short all the way. Okay? That's the level right there. I'll zoom out a little bit here for you. And there we go. So you could see that we put in the lower highs and lower lows. We broke through the air over here, right back there, and we popped up, made another lower high, lower low again. So, you know, if we hit some supply over here, you could see the back test that's coming at right at the prior lows, right over here. The supply zone's right there. It's got a little gap. It's got wonderful looking supply, big leg out. Love this. I love this zone. Okay, so there's a short sitting right in this area. And then, you know, the target would be, you know, somewhere down here, next fresh demand zone. It's a pretty big trade, okay? Okay, that's the yen for now. If we pop up into that sucker, short. Aussie dollar. Really strong move on Friday. Engulfing candle. We ended up saving the week, basically, because the week was pretty much sideways before that. So they ended up turning into these, you know, pair of twins on the weekly chart. And we landed in supply right over here outside the bands on the 240. And I think what we're going to see is actually a little bit more and get through the first zone, and then we turn around over here. 7,900 right over here is fresh supply. That looks to me like we're going to end up, you know, turning around out there and then breaking this low. So similar with gold, we have a little bit of a pop-up still coming, and then the big short sitting up here. All right, so we'll watch Aussie dollar for any potential strength into 7,900 would give you a short, okay? There's our 60 chart, and there's the big bull rush on Friday like everything else. The demand zone just pooped right into the supply up there, and then it just went to bed basically 4 or 5 hours of nothing. There's the other level I'm talking about, slightly higher above us, right? And if we can get up there, I'd be interested in a short, you know. But for now, I'm not really trading Aussie over here in this level that it's at. I want to see, tell me where it's going. All right, so we've got better trades than this laid out for the week. BP, what do we got? Let's take a look. So the weekly chart is a harami inside candle, still looking like we've got an issue with the highs over here. We've been making lower highs for a couple of weeks now on BP. You can see that. And we've gotten through the demand zone actually on the daily chart over here. And we got another lower high, so that's gone. I mean, we're looking at 135 at this point, I think, for BP. Not looking strong at all. We're looking for a pullback further over here. There's our 240 chart. We've just hit some supply and inverted hammer right here. We're probably going to turn over and take out the lows at this point right over here. You can see this, what happened here. Drop base drop over here. We hit the level there. We hit small time for demand over here. We couldn't get back. We just turned around right at the breakout area of the dojis here. And again, now we should be continuing down and through this low. So there's going to be new lows looking like over here on BP coming. Lower time frame BP. There's the 60 chart. We just hit some supply and looking like it's starting to work a little bit. Obviously, can't tell from now, but again, we have these lower highs and lower lows in place. We had a little back test into some supply over there. It's starting to fail. The prices are starting to pull back, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see lower BP coming this week. Okay, so I don't think we're getting back up through these zones, but should we reach 1395, I'd be interested. Oops, I should move my zone. I'd be interested up there. Otherwise, if I'm going to be trading BP, it'll probably be off a smaller time frame entry, looking for lower highs to continue. So that's BP for now. Anyone have a question? Go ahead. Otherwise, I'm moving on to CD. Freezing. Canadian had a nice pop. You could see that on the weekly chart. We have really gotten deep down into this demand zone back here. We've actually hit it all the way to the lows. Right? We do have a lower high in place already on the weekly chart. So, and we took out the middle of this thing. The lows over here were taken out already. We got all the way back to the bottom of the zone. And then we got a really strong pop. If you look at the daily chart, boom, big move, back test, higher, higher, boom, and we land in the supply. Okay? So, trend is about to be down on the weekly chart, right? It's already down on the daily chart. It's on for sure on the 240. We have a nice back test over here, but at the end of the day, I think we're going to fail. I think we have a chance to get up a little bit higher up. We have this little gap area around 78,500. It's this supply zone over here. It's a supply zone on just about every time frame. I think that's where Canadian is trying to go, and I think we're going to see a major sell-off out of that zone, and we're actually going to break down below the lows. So right now the 60 is in an uptrend because of what's going on with the bounce, and then the 78,500 is up here, okay? And it has room to get there too. So this little level here, we'll see. We're just basing underneath. Might get through that. I don't know. 78,500. Basically, this area back here, this supply that's sitting over here, the zone that got marked off over here, 4 to 450, right? 450 up to. There's two different zones on top of each other, but somewhere up here, that's where we're looking for the Canadian to turn over. It should end this uptrend on the 60, and we should start to see it reversing again back into the lows. So sort of like crude, right? Crude is hanging around over here, and it's got a little bit of demand supply still above. It has a little bit of room to go, and then we're talking about a big sell-off. Same idea for Canadian. We know they're correlated. Same issue. The chart looks similar. We're coming up into some supply that we think is going to actually break the bottom for us. So if you're long Canadian, I'd be exiting here. If you want to be short, we're looking for shorts up there. Okay. And moving on, copper. Copper looks really strong after Friday. A massive engulfing candle on the daily chart. So I think the selling is pretty much done. We'll have to see how this plays out over here. You could see that we were in an uptrend on the weekly chart. We pulled back into some daily demand area. We rallied up. We tried to sell off. We did make a new low in the week, but after the engulfing candle, I would have expected us to get all the way down here. Instead, we get a massive, massive rejection of the lows down here. Look at this thing. Big, big rally out into the supply. So what should we see? Well, it is a new low, so we need to have a higher low. This level should give us a little pullback, and then I think we start going this way. So a little worried about shorting copper anymore. I think we're looking maybe for a chance to buy the pullback in the demand for copper over here. Let's take a look. There's the 60. And I think what we're going to get out of this zone is a small pullback. There's a fantastic 15-minute demand zone somewhere over here. That was made when we were breaking through this thing over here. I'll show it to you in a second. I'm looking to buy long over there. I think we're going to pull back, higher low, and then copper's going back to the top. So for now, we're looking for a long, a little bit lower down. I'll show you the level. Come on. There we go. 15. Oh, there it is. Fantastic. Look at that sucker. Love it. Okay. So we're looking at this really nice demand zone over here. You can see that it was a supply on the other side. It was really, really powerful move on both sides of this sucker. So a pullback into here will get me interested in a long for copper. So that's what we're looking at over here. This 15 is already moving to uptrend, so we'll see. But for now, watching this zone for a chance to join a long for copper. The target would be new highs on the daily chart at this point. We're talking about taking out the previous highs. for copper. Take a look. We're talking about. Go back there, and if you look at the weekly chart, right, and you say, well, okay, we pull back, and now we're going to have a higher low over here, and we start rallying through the top of this thing. Where's it going? It's going all the way back here, right? That's all the way up here. That's the target for now, at least. So there's a massive, massive back test over here. So a chance to join a pretty nice long. Okay, keep your eye on that level. It looks really strong on a 15. Okay, and I'm going to do soy and after that. Soy looks really interesting. I've been waiting for this pullback to come for a chance to potentially get into the longs. Take a look over here. We've gotten all the way to the monthly top of the zone at soy. We sat inside the supply zone for about 5 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days all there inside the daily supply. And then, you know, we got the inventory or whatever it was, the USDA report, and a nice pullback, and it lands right inside my demand zone. I have a gap over here. I'll show it to you. There's a little gap in there. The lower time frame. I was waiting for this level to get hit. I'm interested in the long, but obviously not right this second because that is a very bearish candle. And I'm not sure where it's exactly going to turn around. It's already in my demand zone. I need to see it start reacting. I don't know. Maybe it wants to get back to this level on the daily. You know, this test of this wedge breakout over here, 1020 something, which is another, you know, $25, $30 down lower. So I'm watching a chance to get long soy, but you know I'm not jumping on it until I see that it's actually holding the bottom. This is like a crash wave going on over here, straight down, bang, bang, building supply. That's the gap I'm talking about that we landed in. Okay, you could see it back here. Right over here, we're inside that thing. And now there's a couple other demand zones underneath us. I need to see this start to hold itself up a little bit before I want to get into the long. It would be a very nice swing trade because the target now is above 1080. And when you look, the level is so far above, it's like, you know, almost 1100. So, you know, a back test somewhere over here. Maybe it turns around over here. I'm not sure. We'll have to watch. But once the bottom is formed on the 15-minute chart over here, I will start a swing trade for soy long. The target will be at minimum 1080, and probably even a little massive move up after this little you know, pullback is complete. We're in an uptrend on the higher time frame, that's for sure. I showed it to you already on the weekly, on the daily. It's just a pullback into demand. So the only question is, which is the demand zone that's going to get this thing going back again in the direction of the trend and a higher, you know, the next leg up. So you could see we had all these wedge back here, right? This is daily. There's the breakout area. We're about to arrive into it. There's the gap that we've already reached. So, you know, I want to just make sure, you know, we don't touch back here, and you know, so that's why I'm not buying the gap. But we start turning around somewhere over here for a long. We got a ton of air, and then new highs coming. So there's a very nice long setting up for soy. Okay, and that would be it for that. If anyone has a question, go ahead, Eddie. Miss Eddie, what's up, man?
What time frame are you looking for on a turnaround? 15?
15, yeah. Well, 15 puts in the bottom, higher low.
Yeah. Not overnight, right?
What?
During the day session.
No, definitely not overnight. Absolutely not. Yeah, soy at night is death. There's nothing going on. Absolutely not. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that. Yes, only in the day session. Okay. It has to build me a nice higher low, somewhere I can put my stop underneath for a swing trade. That's what I'm looking for. So I don't have that yet. You can see over here on the weekly chart, I'll put it up there. The next level of supply is like 1100 plus. So if we can get into this thing at 1020, look at this on the weekly chart. The next supply zone, I'll draw it. It's not even close. It's crazy. Here, it's here. That's the supply zone. So 1130. I mean, are you kidding me? I'm going to buy it somewhere around 1020. A huge trade setup over here. But yeah, Eddie, thank you. 15-minute higher lows, and it's got to be session. Okay. Anybody else have a question? Otherwise, I'll just do the bonds and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. U.S. Here we go. So the bonds have been going sideways pretty much on 1 week. I think we're actually going to break down, unfortunately, and get into the next demand zone, which is like about 142 and change. I have it on the 240 chart. I didn't draw it over here, but you know, this is just unable to hold itself over here. It had a chance to build a higher low, should have broken out up here. It couldn't. It looks to me like it's just basing over here, chewing through whatever it is it's holding up, and it's gonna drop further. I can see here on the 240, there's the demand again that we're talking about. It's 142 us underneath us. You know, one little wick down there, and we're unable to rally. You can see since that point we've been making these lower highs again. The bottoms are flat, so that's a descending wedge. We're going to break down. Look here, this. I mean, you can see this lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Over here, been flat pretty much all week, not really going too far. But, to me, this looks like we're ready to, you know, to back test again into these lows, and most probably take this wick out again. So that's absolutely not good. That's higher interest rates, that means. And we know the market does not like that, and gold does not like that. So I think we're okay with our analysis there that we're going to see a pullback. Well, I think the playground or the level, you know, the U.S. has been hanging around all week is on the 60 chart. You could see that. I mean, how many times have we touched the supply, and how many times have we touched the demand? Right? We were playing with this higher supply for a while up here, around 145, and then we started holding the 144.9 level 3-4 times already, and always the same 142 and change on the bottom. So again, with all the lower highs in place, there's only one place for price to go. It's down. It's not going up anymore. This demand has been used multiple times, and it keeps making lower highs. So what? It needs new demand. Well, the new demand is not in this level. It's lower down. Therefore, we should see prices break below the pivot under here, and that means higher interest rates. Okay, and all the corollaries of that statement, right? Well, pressure on the market, pressure on gold, X, Y, you know, strong dollar, you name it. So everything is lining up. I think actually that is probably, you know, the catalyst that's going to get us, you know, our analysis to be accurate is when the bonds break down. Once the bonds break down, everything kicks in. That's when the market starts to pressure. It's when the dollar starts to rally. It's when gold starts to fall apart. So keep your eye on the bonds this week. That's about it. Anybody have a question before we wrap up the session? Okay, so for all of you guys that joined on the Wednesday session, that was a lot of fun. There is not a trading session this Wednesday, but there is a webinar. The next live trading session is the following Wednesday. So I will see all you guys on Wednesday. Brandon's got a question before we go. Hey, Brandon, what's up, bro?
Hi, Joe. On behalf of Keith, just to clarify for him, he had a question with respect to rollovers?
His question about the markets? Yeah, go back.
I answered it, but go ahead and clarify for him and the others.
Okay, sorry. Let me just read what it says. I didn't see that. Let me go read the questions. Let's see. Where is his question? Keith, indexes have moved to M. That's correct. So where's his question? Let me see. Keith, if you swing trade, put H, M side by side, roll over date, close H, get into M, same spot in the chart. That is correct. Move this. That is correct. So let me, if that's what you're talking about, the rollover, yes. Let me tell you how to do it. Yeah, sure. So you do put the two charts side by side, right? Without the extensions. You know, just the whatever US, whatever it is, NQM 18 and NQH 18. I'm assuming you're in the H. You want to roll to M, and so what you do is, you're only going to roll over a position that's green. Okay, you don't want to roll over something that's a loss. That doesn't make any sense. If it's a loss, just close it. All right. You'll roll over the trade that is in a green position, and what you're going to do is just close one, buy the other, right, at the same time, wherever current price is. Put your stop under the candle pattern where you had it on the prior month candle. And so, you know, if you're under some kind of supply zone, or you're under some kind of, some kind of a lower high or higher low or whatever it is that your stop is under, you put it on the same candle pattern formation on the new contract month, even though that might be very far from current price, because what you've effectively done is just banked all the profits that you had on the screen. You put them in your account, as opposed to them being open. They're now in your account. It's not really changing the effect of the trade itself. So you want your stop to be where it is, because obviously that's where you decided that you're wrong in the trade, and you want to stay in this trade. So that's all you got to do. Buy one, sell the other, put the stop under the same candle formation of where you, yes, currency, same story. Yeah, same thing. You don't change it. It's exactly the same. That's the way you roll over every kind of trade. Doesn't matter what it is. Okay, and I think we're rolling over the currencies this week, if I'm not mistaken, Keith. I think it's this week. Okay, I'm not sure what day. I have to look, but pretty sure. Okay. Yeah. So George has got a question. NQ made new highs. Money could come out of ESYM to make new highs too. Unlikely. Yeah, unlikely. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, so 15th or 16th, yeah, so that's the end of the week for the rollover on the currencies. I don't think that's going to happen, George. Okay. Other than that, anybody else? All right, cool. Everybody have a great week. I'll see you guys on Wednesday, 8:15 a.m., okay? All the best. Ciao.